that the last decade has been a golden age for all of us. As far as culture goes, for all of us, we've never had it so good. Despite the credit crunch, cinema admissions in the first half of 2009 were the highest they'd been for 7 years. West End theatres chalked up a record year of audiences, breaking through the 14 million mark for the first time. English heritage visitor numbers peaked at 1.2 million last August, and museum attendance grew over 3 times the national average for all visitor attractions in 2008. But this success did not come about by accident. It was in part made possible by a deliberate act of public policy. More taxpayers' money, leading to increased and sustained investment, allowing individual talent to flourish, and enabling infrastructure to be renewed. So why is it that we can trumpet and celebrate all this success of the past decade, yet feel so nervous about the future? Why is it that when we enter a period of financial constraints in public expenditure, the pervading view is that the culture and heritage budget should take its hit? Public spending in our sectors is relatively minute. Expenditure on museums is a mere 0.08% of total public spending. That's less than 0.1%. And public expenditure across the piece on museums, libraries, arts, architecture, and the historic environment all together come to just over 1% of the total health budget alone. A 10 or 15% cut in these budgets would contribute virtually nothing to the overall targets for reduction, but would wreak untold damage on the health of our cultural infrastructure and capability. So the onus on all of us is to make the case for the arts, to counter the Oscar Wilde claim that all art is useless. And there's a political truth here. It is that politicians will only support cultural investment if they are confident that the public will back them. So we need to build and articulate the public backing for the arts and culture. And for a start, let's mobilise the support of all those who participate in or enjoy arts, heritage and cultural experiences. And the figures are impressive. 9.4 million adults take part in voluntary and amateur art groups. 2 out of 3 adults believe that investment in our historic environments makes localities more attractive for people to live and work in. And 2 out of 3 children of primary school age last year visited a museum outside school. Of course we face challenges. First, it's difficult to express the value of much of what we do because it's pretty difficult to accurately measure its impact. And it's our collective responsibility to do something about that. And one step we're taking today is this first joint DCMS Demos fellow, Sam Jones, who has the responsibility of turning the data we have into the impacts we seek. And finally, this isn't a plea for unquestioning public investment. Our institutions need to always become more efficient. And all of our cultural institutions need to work ever harder to attract private finance as part of a mixed economy of funding so that they become less vulnerable to the vagaries of public finance. We may have done well in extending audiences, but we still have a long, long way to go to ensure more equal representation in both those who enjoy and those who work in the art and cultural sector. But we need to constantly reflect and experiment to grow our audience and bring more people from poorer backgrounds to exhibitions and performances. Both government and the cultural institutions need to think long and hard about how they can really facilitate wider opportunities and real social mobility to really get the best talent working across all the sectors. Part of the answer lies in extending the initiatives we've already taken within schools. Both the Creative Partnerships Programme and the Find Your Talent Programme are proving immensely successful in bringing creativity to the classroom and in extending opportunities, artistic and cultural opportunities, to working class children. Finally, the impact of new technology in our world remains a fast-moving agenda. I think the central message we must all grasp all of the time is that we need to seize the opportunities new technology represents and not become overwhelmed by the negative threats which appear to loom. All of these are challenging opportunities. They come at the end of a decade when we've transformed the cultural sector from being underconfident and underfunded to one that is at the top of its creative game with a reputation that bestrides the globe. That success can only be sustained if we win the argument about money and if we continue to meet the new challenges, be they to further extend opportunity or to respond to the digital age. I'm confident that our collective strength, enthusiasm and creativity will ensure that we win through. And I look forward, if the polls are right, to working with you in partnership in the future on these issues. Thanks very much indeed.